Look, if you have a 401k right now, here's a disclaimer. Please don't touch the money until you're ready to actually retire. Do everything you can get. Get your 2 jobs, get your 3 jobs, whatever it takes to not touch that money. Now, guys, I want to talk honestly with you about the 401k. I know we always get a lot of hype about the 401k, but I don't want to feed you that on this video. On this quick video, I'm going to talk about 3 main things. First, what is a 401k and how does it work? Secondly, what are the good things about the 401k? And then finally, what are the bad things, the problems, the 401k trap that a lot of people just don't talk about when it comes to a 401k? So let's jump right into it. First, what is a 401k? A 401k is a retirement savings plan that lets employees like you and me contribute a portion of our paychecks into an account. Now, the money in our 401k accounts will grow tax-free over time. And when I say tax-free, I mean you're not taxed on the interest, you're not taxed on the gains, and you're not taxed on any dividends. So all those things represent what we call tax-free growth. And when you get ready to withdraw the money down the road, that's when you pay the taxes. Now, that's a traditional 401k. And how does the 401k actually work? Employees like you and me, we choose how much we want to contribute towards the 401k. And it's usually expressed as a percentage of our pay. 3%, 5%, 15%, 25% of our pay. Now, sometimes you have an employer that actually matches what we contribute up to a certain percentage. So that's what you normally hear as the match, right? I choose to put 5% in as an employee, and my employer matches that 5% by contributing 5% more. Now, contributions that we make as an employee to a 401k are automatically deducted from our paychecks before taxes are taken out. And that money is invested in whatever we choose to invest it in based on what our employer actually offers. So the employer takes our contribution and our employer invests it into some type of mutual fund or bond or stocks, right? Now, there's different types of 401ks. The traditional 401k is pretty much everything that I've been talking about up to this point. And that's, again, where we pay taxes later down the road, once we start taking the money out. Then you have what's called a Roth 401k. Now, Roth 401ks is where we pay taxes now. We pay taxes before we invest the money. So since we pay taxes now, we always say that a Roth 401k is where we are paying with after-taxed dollars. So that down the road, when we go to take the money out at age 59 and a half, so there won't be any penalty, we don't pay taxes at that point, because we've already paid taxes. Remember, you only have to pay taxes one time. Either you pay them down the road, which is a traditional 401k, or you pay taxes now and don't pay anything down the road, which is the Roth 401k. Now, your job is to know exactly which one of those two that your job offers, and they may offer both. Do me that favor, and if you don't know it already, please find that out. Very important. Now, what happens after you leave a job? If you leave a job, you can do several things with your 401k that you have at that old employer. You can leave it right where it's at. Don't touch it. Just let it stay there with the old employer. Or you can roll it over to an IRA, an individual retirement account that you set up and choose. Or you can cash it out. If you cash it out and you're not of a certain age, or there's other stipulations that I won't go into in this video, but if you cash it out, you may pay an additional penalty for taking it out early. Now, you may have heard of the term 403b. Now, here's the difference between a 401k and a 403b. 401ks are typically offered by for-profit companies, corporations. So you might have access to a 401k if you work for a corporate job or a corporate business or some type of for-profit business. Now, 403bs are typically offered by nonprofits, right? Public schools and any other tax-exempt type organizations. So you might have access to a 403b if you work for a school, a church, or some type of nonprofit organization. But 401ks and 403bs are virtually the same. Now, here's some reasons why a 401k is a good thing. Any money that's pulled from your paycheck to contribute towards a 401k lowers your taxable income today. So you pay less taxes now when you contribute more and more money towards a 401k. So for example, if you get paid $50,000 a year and you decide to put $10,000 into your 401k, you're only going to pay taxes on the $40,000, not the full 50. Another positive good thing about 401ks is the employer match. Guys, the employer match is essentially just like free money, right? They're just matching what you're putting in. So don't leave free money on the table. Another good thing about a 401k is the contribution limits are pretty high as opposed to like a Roth, right? The traditional regular 401k for the year of 2025, the contribution limit is $23,500. And if you're over the age of 50, you can contribute another $7,500 in what they call catch-up contributions. Again, your Roth options typically have much lower contribution limits. Now, another positive thing about a 401k is that 401k assets generally are protected from creditors and bankruptcy under what's called the Employment Retirement Income Security Act, or what they call ERISA. Now, we talked about what a 401k is. We talked about some of the good things about it. Let's talk about the problems with a 401k, the 401k trap, the things that people don't really talk about, but they probably should. First of all, high fees. Many 401k plans have high administrative fees and they have high management fees. And sometimes within a 401k, you have some mutual funds and things that are in there that have high expense ratios, which are basically the percentage of a fund's assets that are used to pay for annual operating costs, the cost of running the fund. Right? So expense ratios and all these funds that are attached to a 401k, they're typically hidden and you don't really see them unless you start inquiring and reading and asking and kind of poking around. But they're there. You just typically don't know they're there. Then another problem with the 401k, sort of this 401k trap, is that sometimes with 401ks, you have very limited investment options. Your job or your employer is going to tell you what your options are to invest in within this 401k. A lot of times, those things are limited. You cannot really invest in anything you want to invest in inside of a 401k. You've got to invest in whatever the job offers. And when you have this limited selection of options, this may not provide enough diversification that you may be more comfortable with, right? They may not have these low cost, low expense ratio type of funds to invest in inside of a 401k. You are pretty much limited by what the job offers. Guys, if you're getting any value from this video, do me a favor, smash the like button, and most of all, share this video with someone who you know could use this valuable information. Also, feel free to drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Now, let's get back to the video. Now, another problem with the 401k, or sort of this 401k trap, is most people just really don't understand 401ks fully in terms of how much they can be contributing, how much they probably should be contributing, the tax benefits, or how to even select the appropriate options for their own scenario, their own situation within what the 401k is offering, right? Because your age, your risk tolerance, when you plan to actually pull the money out, all those things matter in terms of what you choose to invest in or how much you choose to put in towards your 401k, or whether you should do the Roth option versus doing the regular traditional option, right? There's so much that goes into making this decision, and a lot of people make the wrong decisions. Now, another big problem with the 401k is that most people don't contribute nearly enough of what they should be contributing. Now, that may not be a problem with the 401k itself. It's more of a problem of us as investors, but still with the 401k, it kind of leaves a false sense of security for a lot of people. A lot of people think, hey, I'm putting in my 3%, I'm putting in my 5%, not realizing that when you get to be 60 years old, you should have been putting in 10 and 15 and 20% to make sure you have what you need when you're 60. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't even know what their employer matches. They don't even know what the funds inside of the 401k are that they have access to. And so a lot of people just don't contribute nearly enough. And then there's this problem. A lot of people look at the 401k and they see it as a place where I can pull money from when I need it, if I need it for an emergency. And people end up taking loans out and doing these early withdrawals out of their 401k, right? Where they're borrowing money against it or from it. And this can have long-term significant effects on what you have down the road in terms of finances, right? Anytime a loan that you take from your 401k is not repaid on time, those loans become taxed as distributions. And any early withdrawals typically incur a 10% penalty. Like there's penalties that are lopped on top of these loans and these early withdrawals that we just don't think about. We look at it as some place where money is being stored up that I can pull out in an emergency. You can pull it out in an emergency, but that comes with a whole host of problems. So people get burned all the time by touching that money too soon, or by touching that money in general with loans and trying to borrow from it. Look, if you have a 401k right now, here's a disclaimer. Please don't touch the money until you're ready to actually retire. Do everything you can get. Get your 2 jobs, get your 3 jobs, whatever it takes to not touch that money. Now, another problem is just simply poor asset allocation. People are oftentimes too conservative, or they're way too aggressive, but usually they're too conservative with how they're investing their money inside their 401k. No risk at all, right? Getting 2 and 3% annual rate of returns for over the course of 20 and 30 years, that's a problem. When you could have been getting 6, 7, 8, 9% annual rate of returns over the course of 20 or 30 years. The result could be hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that you don't have because you were way too conservative and you didn't allocate your money appropriately for all those years that you were putting in towards your 401k. Look, those are horror stories from people who were only getting 2% for 20 years and should have been getting 10% for 20 years. And a lot of people don't realize this until it's too late. Now, again, I mentioned this point earlier, but it's worth saying again. A lot of people don't properly handle the 401k money once they leave a job. Look, according to a recent study, $1.65 trillion is estimated to be left behind in forgotten 401ks from old jobs, right? And that particular study showed that 29.2 million different accounts across the United States are left with people totally unaware that they have money left in their 401k. So when you change jobs, please make sure that you check and see what you have in your 401k and roll it over to the next job if you can. Figure out what you got and get it. You don't necessarily want to take it in cash, but maybe you want to roll it over into your new employer. My challenge to you guys is you need to learn as much as you can about your 401k at your current job. Do they have a 401k? Do they have a 403b? Do they match anything? And if so, how much? And do they have a Roth option? And then once you find all that out, you need to find out what are the specific things inside of the 401k that they allow you to invest in. What are those funds, those mutual funds, those bonds, whatever it could be? What are they? And then understand that and go research those funds. My suggestion is to always get the match at the job. And if you want to go above and beyond the match, first make sure that you're comfortable with the types of funds that they have available for you to invest in. If you don't like the types of funds, you can still get the match, and anything above and beyond the match that you want to invest from your money, open up your own IRA, individual retirement account, at a brokerage firm. Look, if you're not careful, the 401k sounds wonderful, sounds great, right? But there are some traps and some pitfalls you got to be careful about, right? You don't want to end up wishing you had learned more, wishing you had done more, wishing you had invested more. You want to get as much as you can out of that 401k or that 403b at that job as possible. That's low-hanging fruit. You might as well take advantage of it. So hey guys, I hope that helps you out with the 401k. What is a 401k? What are some of the good things about it? What are some of the bad things about it? And what are some of the potential 401k traps that you have to look out for? If you got value out of this video, do me a favor, smash that like button, share this information with someone who you know who could use it, maybe a young person or an older person who's trying to learn and understand about money and investing. And check out this video right here where I talk about the biggest wealth killers for people in their 20s and 30s that you gotta watch out for.